All right, well, good morning, board. Today I'm going to be talking about important lessons that I've learned in my K through 12 education so far and how they've influenced me. So I'm going to start off with a student update. So junior year begins. As many of you know, I attend Cascade High School in Everett, Washington. School started for us last Wednesday, the 6th. And yeah, this year I'm enrolled in, leadership. Sorry, my schedule's still kind of new. Leadership, AP English Language, Spanish 3, Wind Ensemble, AP Calc AB, and AP Research. So I'm really happy with all my teachers, with the courses that I'm taking, and I'm really looking forward to see what I can do this year. Recently, ASB and leadership have taken up a lot of my time. This summer, I attended a couple leadership camps through AWSL. And I also attended a leadership retreat with my class, which is pictured at the right. I'm really fortunate to be a part of that wonderful group of people, and I can truly say that they're kind of my second family. I really appreciate every single one of them. This year, before school started, we were supposed to put in 20 to 30 hours of community service, just kind of, whether that be cleaning up our activity center or getting activities ready for this upcoming school year. We spent a lot of time together working on that. And also fall sports have started, so right now it's the middle of tennis season, and I'm playing #1 doubles currently. I'm also training off season for springboard diving, which will happen in the winter season, and then I'm training off season for volleyball, which goes from November to June-ish, May-ish. Yeah, so now I'm going to move on to some lessons that I've learned so far. The first lesson that I've learned is that you can't be perfect all the time. So growing up, I grew up with parents that weren't so much strict, but they definitely weren't what I would consider lenient. And they're a little bit older, so definitely a little bit old-fashioned. And at a young age, I kind of developed the personality of being a perfectionist. And it wasn't until 5th grade that I had Mrs. Thomas, who was definitely a teacher that challenged us, not only like intellectually, but socially. You know, she was really that teacher that told us to grow up. And at the time, I had a really hard time with her teaching style, because I hadn't really faced a teacher that didn't allow me to fulfill the feeling of being perfect. But now looking back at that experience, I'm so thankful that I had been in Mrs. Thomas's class, because it allowed me to really know my limits and realize that if I push myself too hard, it's not necessarily the best thing. And it also helped me to realize that it's okay to make mistakes. And I'm still kind of in contact with her today, and I still thank her for that. The next lesson I learned is I learned to manage my time. So as it says, I'm a pretty avid procrastinator, and I will definitely admit to that. This lesson I really learned in 8th grade when I had Mr. Herber for English 1 honors. And I think if you ask any Herber kid, as we call ourselves, his class was not an easy class. I'd find myself staying up until 2 in the morning, just trying to finish up this last project, a book project or a presentation, and in short, his class just was not easy. And I realized that it's really not healthy to be rushing, because you know I have to be going to school with like 5 hours of sleep, and that's due to my not only the hard workload, which I appreciated, but just the bad time planning on my part, trying to juggle sports and school and time for family. But that also taught me to leave time for myself, because you can't always be working all the time. It's important to save time for yourself, to appreciate life, and like it says at the bottom, enjoy the moment. So and I've really learned to appreciate that. Next, I've learned to make connections. So ever since I was little, I've always been a really social person. Like I'd go on the bus with my mom, like at the city bus, and I I would not even hesitate just going up to a random stranger and introducing myself and showing them the new toy that I got the day prior, or just saying hello to the randomest person in public. So, and I really learned to utilize this characteristic that I have in making connections like mentors, friends, teachers, and family. Because mentors, I realize, obviously will just help me so much for my future and when giving good advice. And it helps me make good friends that help make life better. Wonderful teachers that I can learn a lot from, and family, which I'll have forever. And what I love about making connections is that you'll never know who you'll meet or how you'll affect them, because not only can people affect you, but you can do the same to them. Really, all it takes is a simple hello, and leadership has taught me that just acknowledging someone's existence or just giving them a little wave could really just make their day, and I think that's so powerful. And next, I've learned that pain is temporary and that hard work will pay off in the end. So I definitely attribute this lesson to diving, because it's rarely that I go through a practice where I don't have a smack, as we call it, or a belly flop. It's definitely not an easy sport, and growing up in gymnastics, it also taught me that pain will pay off in the end, because ripping on the working on the bars and ripping off skin on your hands, just so you can make calluses and work to achieve higher things. That I think sports has really helped me to form this lesson. So also, it's really important to always get back up even when it feels like the circumstances feel like they're stacked against you, and that has really helped me up to this point. And most importantly, I think I learned to be you, or for me to be myself. So this quote that Ryan brought up yesterday is from Oscar Wilde: "Be you, everyone else is already taken." I really appreciated that quote and taking that to heart, because I feel like in school today there's so much stigma about trying to be someone that you're not, trying to fit the mold of what the perfect student is supposed to be, trying to be the popular kid or the jock. And really, it's taken me up to this point to realize that people are really going to appreciate you for just being you, just being yourself. And even though I've learned a lot about who I am, I've also learned about who I want to be in the future. So just some long-term goals that I have currently. I'm crossing my fingers. I want to attend Stanford University, and I always have had that goal since I was little. And I'm hoping to major in political science and international relations to hopefully become an ambassador or a foreign diplomat. And I want to do this because I feel like a lot of the problems that happen in our government or in larger institutions are due to bad communication. And if I can be the person or a facilitator in that sense, I can really kind of alleviate a lot of the problems that happen currently. So next I'm going to move on to my projects. It's a little hard to see, but I'm working on a project which is a feminine hygiene care product drive. So what made me want to do this drive is I watched a video on the pink tax, which in short is the price discrepancy that women have to pay just for care products compared to what men have to pay. And in a study from the Huffington Post, it said that women have to pay in excess of $18,000 over the course of their life compared to men just to remediate their menstrual cycle. And I was just so shocked by that. And this brought me to the need, which every woman needs this because it's just a natural part of life, and we shouldn't be afraid to talk about it. And really, these products for women in poverty or people who are less fortunate, if they don't have these products, they're forced to use other materials that like absorbent materials that aren't supposed to be used for that purpose, like towels or other cloths, and this can lead to septic shock syndrome. And really, that medical condition doesn't just happen to people in poverty. My mom, who's an MD, had an experience with a woman who was definitely well off, but just had forgotten to change out her her tampon, and it led to this medical condition. So the situation is serious, and it's not something to be taken lightly, and it's not just something that happens to the lesser fortunate. So my goal is to collect an assortment of feminine hygiene care products that I can donate to people who need it in my community. I'm hoping to expand this drive maybe to people in foreign countries, but right now I think my biggest focus is just to focus on the people who need it the most right at home. And I'm hoping to collect tampons, pads, Diva cups, and Midol and other remedies to help with this problem. So I'm hoping to reach out to the Interact Club, which is a Rotary-sponsored club, which is at my school, to help me organize this drive. And as you can see in the picture at the right, this is a picture of our most recent food drive. So Cascade has one of the biggest food drives in the state. I think this year we collected over 70,000 cans, in excess of $18,000, and I think around 500 gifts, which we donated in person to people in our community. And we really take pride in this project because, where I come from, there's a large disparity in socioeconomic status, and it really just warms my heart to be a part of this. And I'm hoping that I can use our drive presence to hopefully translate into my drive and help continue on the giving back to my community. And, I think I went back. There we go. So I've also reached out to my aunt who lives in Florida. She was definitely a big part of the community, in the Mukilteo community, which is close to where I live. She was a big, I think, she gave back to her community a lot, whether that be at like little events or farmers markets. She'd always be making little balloon animals or sewing something that she could give back to the community. And I think she was definitely one of my bigger inspirations in wanting to go into service. But I reached out to her in her sewing and quilting club, and she's making me these little homemade reusable bags that I'm going to distribute the products in. I actually just got my first package of them. They're about this big, I should say. And what's cool about these is that not only can I distribute the products in them, but the girls can also use them as just like a little coin bag or a little jewelry bag, and they're also just really cute. So I'm hoping to receive donations from people not only around my school and in my community, but I'm hoping to reach out to the Gates Foundation or other larger companies to help donate to my cause. And I'm hoping to donate to the local Cocoon House, which is a home or a facility that teens my age can go to if their home is not fit for them. Whether their parent is an alcoholic and they just can't be at home, or they're switching between houses, or really they're just on the street and just need a place to shower. This facility allows them to go as a place of refuge, and I'm hoping to donate to them because it really targets people who are my age and struggling with this situation. But other than that, that's just my general plan, and thank you for your time. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
So impressive and so concise, too. You're going to set an example for us. I'm sure members have reflections and questions. Patty.
So, Joe, if we wanted to help support you in your drive, do you prefer money donations or prefer actual product donations? What do you find most helpful?
So I've been working about setting up a money donation, like a GoFundMe or something in that sense. But I don't think I'm that far in my project yet because there's a lot of little things that can go weird with that. So right now I'm just focusing on products and the physical products right now currently.
And I think I missed, how are you planning on distributing them? Like through your schools or through, anywhere? If somebody has a need, can they come to you, or how will you?
Right, so I think a lot of, like I said, I'm going to distribute to the Cocoon House. but we also have a thing called the care closet at my school, and that's where students who are homeless who attend my school can go anonymously and just get something that they need, you know, whether it be some food, some extra clothes, a sweatshirt, a backpack, just little things that they need and they can go to when they need it. And I'm also hoping to collaborate with my Interact Club and see if we can target other food banks or other places that serve the less fortunate in our community to see if I can distribute there as well.
Peter, can we chime in?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Unless somebody else had something.
Go for it.
Joe, awesome presentation, especially for the first one. Wow. Right. And like Peter said, very concise. I'm excited about you being on our board and just the information that you shared. And you're such a philanthropist. I mean, I'm just really excited to hear, you know, what you're doing. And I hope you'll keep bringing, you know, your workings and you know, your interactions to us too, because I think, you know, we're really concerned about our kids and how they're doing, and with your heart and your passion and what you're already doing, I think it's going to be, you're just going to bring great insight, I think, to our work, and so we really appreciate that. This is a hard thing for me to bring up, and I've kind of toyed with asking you this because I know this might be hard, but with the events of yesterday, especially you being a student, I wanted to just ask you, you know, is there things maybe that you can help share with us on maybe the state of where students are? You know, just any insight that you might have, Joe, for us, because this is very serious, and I think you can help us with us.
Right. So obviously the events of yesterday were definitely very hard to experience, and I think especially for me, you know, just hearing the words, I kind of just got goosebumps through my body, because you know, I can't help but think is that, you know, that could have been me, or that could have been one of my friends, and that really just makes me remember about how fortunate I am and how lucky I am, and I think, you know, there's definitely situations where, like, that really shake students, like school shootings and threats of, like a bomb threat. And I remember last year we had one, and it really, a lot of students had, you know, panic attacks or, and other things of that sort. And really, I think we need to just do what we can to really keep track of what goes on, you know, through social media, what the little things that students say, and really hold. I really need to work on holding peers accountable if I do hear something like that. And I think we just need to do our best to, you know, live our life appreciating every second of it, because we never know when something like that could happen. I think in school, like, one of my teachers said that his biggest job as a teacher was not to help us, you know, study for a test or learn something new, but his primary job was as a protector, which I really kind of took to heart, because these, you know, our teachers care so much about us. They talk about us as their own kids, and they really do care about us. So yeah, I think we just have to stay close with each other and really appreciate every second that we spend. So.
Other questions or comments? Ricardo.
Joe, great presentation, by the way. You know, when I think about your presentation just now, and I think back when I was your age, I mean, you got about let's say about a 1,000,000-mile head start. So I commend you for that. In any event, what could you point to as some of the biggest reasons why you think students don't complete their high school, and what the school system could do to ameliorate that.
I think it really just has to do with the different support systems that students have in their life, whether that be family or through the school. I think students, especially students who go through hard upbringings, face a lot of adversity, and school just really isn't kind of at the top of their to-do list. And I think that's true for a lot of students that are going through that. And I think we have to, that's why I voted for help with reaching out to families yesterday when we did that poll, because I think so much learning goes into the upbringing of students right in the home. That's where you learn your social skills, where you learn how to share as a kid, and just how to be a person. And if that support system at home is not in place, or if schools don't reach out to the families of these students, how else are they going to build that good foundation and be expected to learn and be successful in their post-secondary education? So I think in addition to having a good support system at home, we have to really go beyond just teaching our students. We have to make sure that these students have a mentor, have somebody that they feel safe talking to. I see so many times just walking through campus, a person who has a hoodie over their head, just doesn't want to talk to anyone, and just you can tell that they don't fit in, or they don't like being at school. And I think, like I mentioned earlier, our educators are more so than being our teachers, they're our protectors. And I think we have to put more emphasis on reaching out and making genuine relationships with our students rather than just teaching at them. You have to reach and figure out what's underneath before you can genuinely start figuring out what makes them click and what makes them learn correctly.
Very good.
So, Joe, this is so impressive. One of the joys for me personally in serving on the board is hearing from our students. And it's not only the depth of activities you're involved in, but for me, the degree of self-reflection and self-examination. I agree with Ricardo, thinking where I was at your age. You're way ahead. So keep going. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.